One common theme that you will see within this lymphatic organ. So this is an organ right here. The lymphatic system, there's going to be like three main categories. You're going to have your vessels, you're going to have your organs, and you're going to have lymphatic tissues. What's a lymphatic tissue? It's just connective tissue with a lot of lymph nodes on it. So we'll get to it. We'll get to it on lecture more. But for this one, I want you to know so this is a lymphatic organ, and the common theme of it is that there are regions where they're called germinal centers, where there is high proliferative activity surrounding by regions where you have the mature lymphocytes. So this particular lymph node, part of the lymphatic system, there's going to be two main cell types present here. Does anybody remember the two types of lymphocytes that we have?
Granulocytes. Granulocytes.
Okay, so that's one of the categories of white blood cells or leukocytes. Among those two categories, you're going to have you mentioned the granulocytes, right?
Uh-huh.
So the granulocytes are going to be your neutrophil, your basophil, and your eosinophil. And your other category, your agranulocytes, the ones that don't have the granules, that's going to contain your monocytes and your lymphocytes. Now,
because they don't have the granules.
Correct. These two don't have the granules. Does anybody remember what does a lymphocyte look like?
The lymphocyte is completely round, and the monocyte has the kidney shape.
That's correct. This is going to do you well during the practical, knowing these differences.
That's all I got.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's kind of all I remember.
So now going back to the question, we classified all the white blood cells, the granulocytes, the agranulocytes, the ones without granules, and among the ones without granules are the lymphocytes. Now, within the lymphocytes, there are at least three major categories of lymphocytes. Does anybody recall the categories by chance?
The T cell, you mean like the T cells?
Yes. Correct. One of them is your T cell, your T lymphocyte. The other?
B.
Correct. And the last one are the correct, yes.
Natural killer cells.
Three categories of lymphocytes.
And what was the last one called?
Natural killer cells.
Natural killers.
I won't forget that.
Natural killers. Like serial killers. Okay.
And they do just that. Within your body, they are the cells that kill cells in your body. They're the ones that go and kill your own cells, but they kill them for a reason, because they're infected by a virus or they become cancerous. So they're like the Dexter of the cellular world. They kill, but they do it for a good reason.
Is this the same thing as the autolyse, or what is it called? I can't think of what it is, where they just automatically kill themselves. Talk about in biology.
Apoptosis?
Yeah, that.
So that's like cell suicide. There's no murder happening here.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that makes sense.
But there is the natural, some of the mechanisms that whenever you go through that long lymphocyte lecture, there is, we talk about the mechanisms, how these natural killer cells and other cells in your body can promote a cell death in other cells, can promote apoptosis. But anyway, let me go through this. I have to get to dinner. I'm gonna limit this. I wanted to do 1 hour, but we're limited at 1 hour and 30 minutes at the most. So let's just go through this real quick.
Yeah, Dr. Marco, I have to go. I have to do some other things for my other class. I have to complete some assignments that's due today. So I'll see you on Saturday.
Yeah.
Happy
absolutely.
birthday.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thank you.
Okay, see you guys.
See you later. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
So yeah, let's go through this real quick. So all I wanted to make that that distinction, because there's going to be two populations of lymphocytes here. You're going to have your B lymphocytes residing here, and you're going to have your T lymphocytes lying closer to the medulla. So they're going to be in this area between the medulla. So this is the medulla. There's like two layers of the medulla. There's like a medulla, deep medulla, and there's like an outer medulla. So this is like, you can tell that this is the medulla, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell that this is the cortex where the lymphocytes are, right?
Yes.
Where the follicles are. The space between the two, between the medulla and the
Cortex.
the cortex, those follicles, that's kind of like the outer medulla. And this is where the T lymphocytes are going to reside. B lymphocytes within the follicles, T lymphocyte in this ambiguous area. So here you have your B lymphocyte in this germinal center. This germinal center, there are B cells that have the capacity to proliferate. So let's say that, so the lymph is coming through afferent vessels, and there is this subcapsular space here that is contiguous with those vessels. And from this subcapsular space, there are foreign antigens on that lymph that is coming into contact with the follicles. And let's say that one of these follicles recognizes that antigen, and it says, hey, I dealt with this before. It's called measles. So I have the antibodies for it. So it undergoes this what's called a clonal expansion, a clonal division. So it just clones itself. It just like divides over and over and over, so that we can attack this foreign invader. That happens here in the germinal center, where you have that division occurring, and from there you have cells differentiated into these functional B cells surrounding it. Okay. T cells, what else do we need to know? Do you see the cortex? This cortex, it is contiguous with these regions called trabecula. So the cortex kind of like invaginates into it, and the subcapsular space as well. That allows the lymph to come into contact with all of the follicles here. Any questions on the lymph node?
No. I was just going to say, so this is a lymph node. Gotcha.
Correct.
What's
Correct.
the natural killer cells then?
Where are they? They're traveling all over the body.
Okay.
So
That's
I
what
don't think there is like a space here that's exclusive, like a region that's exclusive for natural killer cells, but they're just circulating, looking for virally infected or cancerous cells.
Okay.
And do you recognize this cell type?
Yeah, that looks like the lymphocyte, right?
Correct. Full of lymphocytes. This lymph node. That's why they call them lymph nodes. That makes sense.
So you have to get like super close to be able to see the difference between the lymphocytes and the monocytes?
In this, that question will be asked on a sample of red blood cells, where where they're easier to spot. In this, I bet if there is a monocyte here, it's like a Where's Waldo of white blood cells. Okay, let's go to the next.
And so these slides for the histology, are they uploaded on Canvas or no?
This is this website histology guide.
Okay.
If you wanna, it has labels on it, so so for example here it tells you where the cortex is. It's that region, the capsule, that region, inner cortex. Yes, this region, medulla. Oh, we didn't go over the medullary cords. So here you see these kind of areas that are purple.
Mm-hmm.
Those are medullary cords, and they are somewhat contiguous with these follicles. The medullary cords contain B cells. So you see this purple here, and same as this purple here. They're both B cells. B cells. The cord contains B cells, and anything that's not purple, deep purple, that's kind of pinkish in color, those are sinuses. So the way that I would interpret this is like these sinuses are spaces, just like the sinuses that you have within your head, the spaces. And the reason why there are so many spaces within this particular organ is because the lymph, we wanted to be getting contact with the different cells, the different lymphocytes present here. That way if there is a foreign invader, there's a higher possibility that it will contact a lymphocyte with a marker that recognizes it. Whenever it comes to this, the lymphatic system is a specific. The reason why it's a specific is because it recognizes in a lock and key type of way the foreign substance. It just doesn't attack random. It's not that smart. A cell is not smart enough to just know that this is foreign just because it knows everything within the body. The way that it recognizes it as foreign is because it has a lock and key mechanism that will bind to that particular invader. And for that to happen, it has to come into contact with it. The sinuses provide that those spaces where some of this contact can occur. All right, real quick, the tonsils. What I want to highlight in the tonsil is that the tonsils are going to be in areas of high friction, high stress. So what do areas with high friction, high stress have? What's this? What's this layer?
Is it epithelial? No.
Correct. What type?
What type?
Yeah.
You said stratified?
Stratified. Okay. Stratified squamous epithelium.
Correct. Areas of high stress, if they're facing a lumen, so it's gotta be epithelium, right? There's no lumen that faces muscle, right?
No.
It always faces epithelium. So whenever you see lumen, the next layer you say epithelium. The question is like, what type of epithelium? That's what you should be asking. In this case, stratified squamous, and it is because tonsils are in areas where food, air is passing, lots of friction. So we need a lot of layers in order to protect this organ. That's what I want you to focus on. That you have similar here, these follicles with a germinal center, and B cells surrounding it. You have a cortex and a medulla. This one is kind of more, you can distinguish it easier, the cortex and the medulla. And you will see within, let's see, oh, you see these regions called crypts. So these crypts, what they do is there is the tonsils, your mouth, your respiratory epithelium, your trachea, they have mucus. The mucus substances kind of getting better in the mucus. And those substances fall down these crypts of this tonsil. And within these crypts, that is where you have interactions analogous to the sinuses within lymph nodes. These are areas in which the foreign substances can come into contact with the lymphatic system, right? Because that's the function of the lymphatic system. It wants to know, hey, is there something foreign coming into our mouth? Is there something foreign in the lymphatic system, something that could hurt us? And if there is, then it'll attack it. It'll start the defense of it. Here is an example of plasma cells. So this is a view of plasma cells. Whenever, what's a plasma cell? Does anybody recall?
Mm-mm.
So whenever so you have a lymphocyte, a B lymphocyte that makes sorry, you have a B lymphocyte. The B lymphocyte doesn't make antibodies. It has antibodies in its surface that allows it to recognize foreign substances. But whenever a foreign substance comes into contact with these antibodies on the surface of this B cell, then the B cell says, oh my God, there's something attacking us. There's something foreign. And what it does is first of all, it divides itself repeatedly in order to increase the numbers of the B lymphocyte. But then it kind of differentiates and matures into the cell whose sole function is to create antibodies that are going to attack this foreign substance. So this, whenever it gets to that point that it only makes antibodies, then it is known as a plasma cell. And this is a view of them. So this is a differentiated lymphocyte, basically. Do you see the difference between a proper lymphocyte, this one dark nuclei, and a plasma cell with that light nuclei?
Yeah.
So both of these are most likely B lymphocytes, but one of them is just kind of surveying the space, seeing if there's something that it recognizes. The other one recognized something, and now it's full potential making antibodies. That's all it's doing, just like creating antibodies, mounting the response. Okay. So that's your tonsils in this epic battle against foreign invaders. One thing that I want to emphasize is that B cells, each B cell makes only one type of antibody. And that is why there's millions of them, and each one making a different type of antibody. Whenever a foreign substance binds to it, then only one cell can recognize that foreign substance, but that one cell divides repeatedly, and then that one cell becomes basically the immune response of your entire body. Okay, let's get out of the tonsils and let's go to the spleen. The spleen capsule, once again, there are trabecula. So these invaginations of the capsule, I think you see it. What looks like capsule? This one, right? That looks like capsule. Pink, pink. So these are trabecula. These are just like infoldings of the capsule into the spleen. What I want you to notice is like these regions right here, right? Does anybody remember what these were called? This is called white pulp. So the reason why this is white pulp and the rest is called red pulp. The reason why this is white pulp is because there are white blood cells here, and this is red pulp because there's just a lot of red blood cells in it. So we talked about how within the lymph node, the lymphocytes come into contact with the foreign invaders through the lymph. The foreign invaders would be in the lymph. The tonsils will come into contact with foreign invaders through these crypts, through mucus just flowing down these crypts. So basically, we breathe something in that foreign falls into this mucus. This mucus falls into these invaginations of the tonsils, these little gaps, and that's whenever the lymphocyte comes into contact with the foreign invader. The spleen, basically at the center of each one of these white pulps, which have lymphocytes, at the center of them there is a blood vessel. So basically the lymphatics are coming into contact with foreign invaders by surveying the blood. They're surveying these blood vessels, they're surveying blood. And if there's a foreign invader in the blood, then they'll undergo that process that we alluded to. Rapid division and then attacking it. So anyway, white pulp, red pulp, sinusoids and cords. Let's look at a cord. Cords. And so the cords are going to be these areas of concentrated areas of lymphocyte, and your sinuses are going to be, what are sinuses?
The spaces.
Spaces. Look at these spaces. Those are the sinuses, right?
Mm-hmm.
And once again, whenever there's a space, something like this, it's probably because it wants to have a high contact area. So basically, you have your lymph or your blood within these vessels. And if these spaces, what they do is it allows this blood to just leave the vessel and go into the sinuses. And from these sinuses, there's more contact between whatever the space is, whatever it's surrounding this space. In this case, what's surrounding this space? Some lymphatics, and especially here in these white blood cell areas, some lymphatics in these cords, lymphocytes in this cord, and also lymphocytes within this the white pulp itself. All right. Questions about the spleen?
Mm-mm.
Oh, Sylvia, to address your question about storage of blood in the spleen, what they meant was a storage of iron.
Iron.
Correct.
So it stores iron.
Yes, it stores iron. The spleen is one of the places where there's going to be recycling of red blood cells. And whenever we recycle red blood cells, we recycle its most pricey components, which are the iron and the heme group.
Okay.
Okay, let's look at the last one. Oh, yes. And then I get to have dinner. Yes. Okay, so this is the thymus. The thymus kind of follows the same concepts. You have a medulla and you have a cortex, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so here the medulla is present here basically, and it kind of like it goes into each one of these lobes. We mentioned that all other lymphatic tissues have like a germinal center, and in the exterior portion is kind of like the functional cell. The thymus is the opposite. The germinal areas are in the cortex. These are the areas that are undergoing proliferation. And the interior of it is the functional cell. Unlike previous lymphatic structures that we talked about, they had B cells, right? This one is the thymus. A T cell is called a T cell because it comes from the thymus, T cell. So these are all T cells for the most part. T cell for the thymus. One defining feature of the thymus is going to be the presence of these corpuscles, these kind of these reticular cells forming layers around each other. They're called Hassel's corpuscles. All right. So that's, and you can recognize the thymus based on the presence of these Hassel's corpuscles. You're not gonna see any other place that has this particular structure. Do you see it?
What's it called again? Something corpuscle?
A Hassel corpuscle. Here is the name Hassel. It's basically these cells that form layers around each other. Do you see these many cells forming these layers around each other?
Mm-hmm.
They're not surrounding a blood vessel, they're surrounding more cells that look like themselves.
So all of these different structures, the thymus, tonsils, they all have B cells and T cells, right?
Right, the one, so here on the thymus, you're mostly gonna find T cells.
Okay.
I'm sure there are B cells, but there's not one structure that I can tell you, and the B cells are here. They're probably scattered all around, just like there's red blood cells all around. But for the most part, it's going to be T cells for thymus. All right, I think that's it for me. And unless you have any specific questions, I think we can wrap it up.
I think we're good.
All right.
Well,
Well,
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time out to do the question and Q&A.
no worries. We're gonna do this every Wednesday. I think this one's a little longer because of the exams.
Yes.
All right, everybody, have a good night.
Thanks.
thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.